It all kind of started with the growth of 2 malls in Tallahassee.
Old Sam, before he passed on to glory, didn't become the richest man in America because he wasn't taking a profit out of his business model. Certainly.
Next thing you know, you got 3 corporate warriors duking it out on the same corner. The end result is there's one bookstore there now, and it's the only one.
It's big business, but do corporations have to be big business?
We became All Saints Cafe about 2.5 years ago. This was a coffee shop before, and they went out of business. And this was my favorite place. And it was only the 5th favorite place, coffee shop that I've hung out in Tallahassee that had gone out of business. And instead of lamenting the passing of another cool hangout, I kind of got pissed off and hawked everything I owned and wheeled and dealed and talked to bankers and made business plans and bought the place. And sometimes it makes money and sometimes it loses money, but it's an idea.
Virtually every business in Tallahassee is an independent business in that sense of the word. They arise from ideas and entrepreneurship here in this community, and they are special and unique to us.
It allows you to make your own decisions. It allows you to do what you want within the guidelines of what you have to do for the state, for your employees, for your establishment. It's a lot of freedom, but it's a lot of responsibility. People will walk into a new place that they haven't been before, and you'll see them kind of sizing it up, you know? They're deciding if it's safe, if they're gonna be able to get what they want. They don't do that when they walk into a McDonald's because they know exactly what they're getting, but it takes a little bit of bravery to go check out some wacky small business because you don't know what you're gonna get. You know, everybody thinks it's gonna be like the soup Nazi. You know, you come in and you're gonna get a hard time from some wacky, eccentric person who owns a small business, you know? And, you know, that might happen, but for the most part, you're gonna go to a small business and meet somebody cool.
We have a lot of local customers from the neighborhood around here, and they're very loyal, come in all the time. I see the same faces every day a lot of the times.
A challenge of running this particular business is explaining to people what you're selling. It's not like a generic chain place. It's like, what do you sell? Well, we sell a little bit of everything. And it is used items, most of it vintage.
It's a really good job. I get to meet a lot of nice people who are into interesting movies and make suggestions where I can.
I do not have health insurance. I've been searching for health insurance for about 6 months. I'm in desperate need of it.
Health insurance continues to be an issue, the cost of health insurance and things of that nature. But that's a national, I mean, that you could knock on any community's door at this point and they'd say health insurance is an issue.
The whole healthcare situation in this country is so screwed up. And everybody's running around talking this and that based on propaganda they've been fed by people who are getting rich off of their pain. And it sucks.
But my full-time staff has health insurance, yeah. I'm not able to cover the part-time staff, but I cover 100% of my full-timers.
I think the businesses that are offering health insurance are stretching. That definitely is a testament to their employees.
I would earn a lot more money if I didn't cover my employees, my full-time employees' health insurance. On the other hand, my full-time employees have been here, one going on 11 years and one going on 6 years.
Health insurance is one of those things that will keep you in a job that you're unhappy with as a result of not being able to get health insurance otherwise. You know, if it was more readily available, I think that we would, probably very many of us would be in different career choices, you know.
I mean, I quit a corporate job because I didn't like what was going on and kind of just walked out, started doing this, and I had health insurance and now I don't. But we still are small, and there's sometimes when I don't get a paycheck, so it's just kind of a month-to-month thing.
Typically across the country, about 80% of new small businesses, and this is less than 100 employees, will fail within 5 years. There's a lot of carnage out there in the business world.
We are a venue for members to be in touch with one another, to market their services to one another. Our organization provides tangible benefits to members, from discounts on advertising when you're just starting a business, to networking venues and things of that nature.
The best and first reason to be a member of a Chamber of Commerce is so that you make business contacts of people that are going to use your products and services. In fact, it may be the single most important tool to survival, is that chamber membership.
Back when we first opened up, we were members of Chamber of Commerce, and
I don't know about those guys. It's like they're lobbyists, they're like shiny offices downtown. They get their dues and, I don't know, make pretty signs and let you stick them in the window, but it's like, what are they gonna do for me?
The dues, didn't feel like paying dues. It's not, you don't get too much in return. I mean, yeah, you're mentioned, and there is an avenue to be explored with that.
But now that I've worked with them, they become a member of Locally Owned Tallahassee, and we're a member of them. Now I see where they actually have all these meetings every day. For breakfast, you can meet other business owners, kind of like Ibica does. But there are some chains. There are people that Walmart or Target, chains can also be a member. So that's the difference between the chamber and, I think, Locally Owned.
We've changed our name recently from Ibica to Locally Owned Tallahassee. Our technical business still operates under Ibica, but Locally Owned Tallahassee says a lot more. Well, I'm the founder and president of Locally Owned Tallahassee. I've worked with this organization for 9 years, and what we are is a coalition of independent business owners. We work together to try to help create traffic between our businesses, and also to try to educate the public about who their locally owned businesses are and why it might be important to shop locally owned.
I don't think I would still be open if it wasn't for Locally Owned Tallahassee, also known as Ibica.
I was dating this girl and her mom ran Ibica. She's like, you have a small business and you're not in Ibica? You better get in Ibica or I'm going to get in big trouble. And you're going to get in big trouble. So I joined Ibica so Wendy wouldn't beat the crap out of me. But that's not entirely true. I think Ibica is a really cool thing, and something as simple as that brochure, where people can have it all laid out for them, that these are the independent businesses.
We also educate people at the union at FSU at different times of the year about what shopping locally means. We mean shop locally owned, which means come to a business that's owned locally, the money stays in the business. There's people here that live here, own it, and can talk to you.
The joy of shopping locally, why it's important to our economy, is that even if that business owner for the local retailer takes out the profit to buy his home, his car, his clothing, food, whatever, those dollars tend to stay within that economy, and they bubble around in this economy rather than a portion of them going off.
Money is used 5 times over when you shop at a locally owned store as opposed to a chain. For example, I hate to pick on Walmart, but for every time that someone buys a vintage clothing item as opposed to a clothing item there, that money that we bring in supposedly is spent. Like, I go shop at Wendy's store or I go shop at New Leaf, and that money is spent over and over again in the same community. Whereas Walmart would take that money and take it to the corporate office.
I mean, any money that people don't realize that the money they spend at Lowe's goes to North Carolina. The money they spend at Home Depot goes to Atlanta, Georgia. They're not helping themselves, really, by shopping at these establishments. The question is whether big box retailers return enough to their communities, or are they a big funnel that takes the money and shoots it to Arkansas? And it's a complex answer to that question. Our community benefits from companies being here in financial ways and in other ways. And that's the joy of having local companies, because they're invested in the community in a way that a big box retailer is not.
There's always been a natural alliance between community organizations and the local business community. Often we're asked to help out with fundraisers and that sort of thing.
Definitely, our community gets an A. Our small business community scores highly for supporting local entities.
You have these two piles, and on this side is what large businesses give, and on this side of what small businesses give. The dollar amount is probably equal. The number of players is not at all equal. You have a few players over here who give this amount of money, but you have a lot of players over here. Now, what's important to the charitable enterprise is often as important as the dollars that they receive are the volunteer base that they get to provide their services. This pile gives a lot more of that because it's all very hands-on.
Since none of us can, you know, give thousands of dollars donations to different causes in town, we decided that we would get together every year and do one big event. And that event has been the Feed the Community Festival.
Lost out in the woods, looking for you. When will you come back home? When will you come back home?
Thank you, Second Harvest, for all your wonderful work in this community, and that's why we're all out here, to raise food, money, and awareness about the issue of hunger in our communities.
It's a great way for all of us to get out here. We all work really hard. We're in our shops and our studios and our businesses, and this is a chance for us to be out in the sunlight, visiting, selling our wares, and do a great charity event. So it's one of our favorite events of the whole year.
So we figure we raised, boy, I haven't done the math, but I'm sure we, you know, somehow can serve up about 18,000 meals out of what we raised that day, if not more.
And I have seen the total personnel force of businesses out in support of a charitable enterprise from this pile of people. Very seldom that you see that level of passion from a big giver.
A corporation does not have a conscience. A corporation does not have a personality. They have lots of advertising dollars to spend on making you think that they do have a personality, but they truly are not a person, and they truly are not responsible to anybody but their shareholders. Whereas to me, if you came to me as a customer and you weren't happy with something in my store, it's me. I mean, it's me who's behind this business. It's me who cares about whether you're happy or not and whether or not you're finding what you need. And I'm not responsible to anybody else but my employees, my community, and my customers. That's it.
That's the joy of the local retailer, the small retailer. They have the time for you, and they have the expertise for you. You never dream of asking such a question in Walmart because their staff is hired simply to stock the shelves and check you out when you get there. That's the very definition of a big box retailer.
If you shop at those big box stores, basically somebody else with an idea of what you should like is deciding what your choices will be, and they're very limited, really. By keeping an independent business community healthy and by shopping locally owned, you have an opportunity to tell the owner what you like.
We need more small independent businesses, you know what I mean? It keeps things unique, you know? Everything's pretty generic in this country as far as like stores. They're all pretty much the same thing wherever you go, you know? Every mall is the same thing too, so I'm kind of over that.
Wait a minute. I can see through the corporate haze, and there's some little bright spots, you know? And we can get food and go to coffee shops and buy vintage clothes and comic books and wait, they all know each other and it's all cool and there's still places available and like maybe I could do something or I could work for one of these people and learn some stuff. It's like every year we snag a few more people with energy and vision and an idea that they would like to be part of something that's a little different than what you get everywhere else. Educated people making educated economic decisions. And every time we spend some money at somewhere that's not corporate, knocking another stone out of their foundation. And eventually they're just gonna fall over. They're gonna be like, we don't know what the deal is with Tallahassee, but we can't make any money there. Yeah, that's kind of a fantasy. I'd like to see it happen, but we're building something, all of us.
If you ever need something, come see us. us and our cats.